everybody. Welcome to Who's Your Mama Bear, a podcast by Mama Bears for Mama Bears. I'm Megan. I'm a working mom of a toddler named Kayla.
And I'm Jamie. I'm a stay-at-home mom with a blog, coolmomjamie.com.
So Jamie and I met in Mommy and Me when our babies were really little, and our teacher is Danielle Brooks. And we've convinced her to impart all of the knowledge she gave us and saved us with onto you guys.
You're welcome.
Hi everyone, I'm Danielle Brooks. I am a mom of 3 daughters, a Mommy and Me teacher, an obsessor of child development, and a clinical therapist.
So when we first started Mommy and Me, the first class we did, and please excuse our little ones out there if you hear some screaming and whining. But our first class, we shared our birth stories, which was actually a really powerful thing to do because it made us all realize we are in the trenches together. So we wanted to share our stories with you guys and open it up if you want to write us with yours. So yeah.
And so our viewers know we're just recording our podcast as we cast it. So that's what you're looking at.
Yeah, and we decided to show you guys where we are and what we look like. So this is an extra special episode.
Well, I'll kick it off. 20 months ago, I gave birth to my daughter, Mickey, and I had suffered from hyperemesis the entire pregnancy. So the delivery was a vomitous occasion.
Wait, Jamie, do you want to define for people who don't know, who are lucky enough to not know what hyperemesis is?
Fair ball. Hyperemesis is when you have morning sickness the entire day, all night. A lot of people best know it as the Kate Middleton disease. And you can't keep food down. Amazingly, ice cream milkshakes went down perfectly though. So Mickey is an ice cream baby. But game day, I just started off my usual pukey self. And then my water broke, got to the hospital, and 95 pukes later, I had a baby in a span of maybe 5 minutes. So I vomited my baby out.
It sounds like hell and heaven to me.
It kind of was heaven because I really didn't sustain injury because she just came out.
Right.
And the nurse explained to me that the vomiting is a natural pusher.
Wow. See, and for me, so I had this really frustrating condition during my pregnancy called cholestasis, which meant that the baby was at high risk for toxicity when she was born. So they didn't want me to go past 37 weeks because of it. And just so you know, the warning signs are like itchiness, which is very common in pregnancy, but you might want to get it checked out just in case it's kind of like presence of bile acid in your blood, whatever. It's not harmful for the mom.
It's extreme itching, right? Like
but mine
itchy.
wasn't extreme though. I was just a paranoid pregnant woman, so I got like a little rash and went in. But I never would have gone in if I wasn't so paranoid. It wasn't that bad. Anyways, I had to get induced, which sucked because it just set me on this totally different course of labor. Which probably I would have been fine if I had her naturally, but my doctor was extra cautious. So yeah, I got induced. I had to go in on a date and very early, and honestly, I don't think Kayla was ready to come out because I got induced. It was like 48 hours of hell, and then I was in labor for 24 hours. She was stuck, and they had to try to vacuum her out. She wouldn't come out, and I ended up in an emergency cesarean, and that's just a really hard way to have a baby because you're drugged, you're in pain, you're having major surgery. It's not the way you had it planned, but just like everything in parenthood, you get through it. So.
But there's something that you said that's really important to remember, which is it's not what you planned.
Right.
And I think that aspect of you're going into pregnancy and I'm going to, eat healthy and I'm going to exercise, I'm going to do all these things and get everything ready, and then you have cholestasis and you have hyperemesis and, I had severe shooting nerve pain down my back. Like if the baby moved and the head hit a certain point, it literally felt like somebody was stabbing me in places I don't want to describe. And you're not prepared for any of those things. You have this kind of vision in your mind of what things are going to look like. And then it becomes really tough emotionally because it's like, this isn't matching up with what I thought it was going to be. And so then it becomes a really tough mental health game of how do I manage all this 95, throw ups a day and trying to gain weight so my baby can develop healthy. I mean,
Milkshakes
really
and puke bags in your pocket. If you have hyperemesis, you just keep puke bags ready to go, and then you're uninterrupted. It's just, keep it moving. That's my advice for anyone with that.
But that's the piece of you really can't decide how it's going to go. And, it's really funny. I went into the first, labor and delivery of my first daughter 11 years ago, and with my birth plan, right?
Yeah.
We all did.
Right?
Birth wishes is what my doctor
I didn't have it for my second or my third.
Your fantasy list of what you think could happen.
Correct.
Birth
and
fantasy.
I went in with, I'm an athlete, I'm going to push this baby out. I'm going to even help pull it out. I want the mirror up above. I want that baby right on my chest to wiggle its way to my breast and latch on. And I'm going to be sweaty and gross, but like in my glory. That is so not what happened.
That's what I thought.
Do you know I went to the dry bar before my labor because I'm like, I just want my hair to look. Oh my gosh, that was the worst $40 I've ever spent.
Yeah, I mean, I was 42 weeks pregnant, 41 and a half.
Oh my god.
And I kept saying, I don't want to be induced. I really want this baby to cook as long as the baby wants to be cooked. I didn't know if I was having a boy or a girl any of the 3 times. So that helped me get more and more excited for labor and delivery.
Right.
And I was doing all of my exercises at home. I was ready to go. I was going to do it all natural like my mom did, you know, because there's a medal in this somewhere, right?
Yeah, for being the best.
Right.
You got to be the best at life.
So I, 41 and a half weeks later, I was induced. And I wish somebody would have told me that the closer you get to 42 weeks, your chance of a C-section go up by like 60 or 70%.
Ooh,
Because in all honesty, I would have been induced then way closer to 40 weeks. But I kept waiting. Like, no, my baby's supposed to tell me when it's ready to come. Like, I'm following my baby's train here. And so I went in for an induction at night. And they did the balloon insertion. I don't know what they did for your induction.
They retrieved my water.
Okay.
They retrieved it.
They did the balloon insertion, and they said to me, okay, this normal stage of the balloon insertion to get you to 3 centimeters is going to take about 12 to 14 hours. Justin and I were kind of looking at each other like, all right, let's settle in. And it was really funny because our labor and delivery nurse was one of the girls who won on The Bachelor. We were laughing. Anyway, she was great. She was awesome.
Give you a rose?
She was amazing.
Your final rose.
She was fabulous. And so when you're ready for the next stage of induction with the balloon is the balloon just falls out because you're dilated.
Because you're so
enough.
dilated, it comes
Right.
out. Okay.
So about 45 minutes in, I said to Justin, like, I have pretty tough pain, man. I can manage pain, but something is like really painful. And it was about 40 to 45 minutes in, I had to go to the bathroom. I was like, how the heck am I going to get up and go to the bathroom? I had this balloon in me, you have your IV. And my husband is great and amazing and wonderful and fantastic, but hospitals, sickness, illness, fluids, not his forte, and he was a rock star. So I go to the bathroom, and all of a sudden I'm like, what is happening? I felt like the baby fell out of me, which clearly did it. The balloon fell out.
Okay.
Okay.
You're ready.
So they, called the nurse, and I'm like, wow, that's so impressive. 45 minutes later, it usually takes 14 hours. You're already at 3 to 4 centimeters dilated. This baby's going to fly out of you. And I'm like, yes, I'm going to do it all natural. This is great. And, then it kind of goes a little while longer, and my water breaks. Great. Everything's progressing, and this whole thing of I have to be induced, I'm going to cross that off the books, right? This baby's, like, ready. Another couple hours later, I'm still 3 to 4 centimeters dilated, and they're like, all right, you know what? It's been, like, 7 to 8 hours at this point. We should kind of put some Pitocin in there.
Oh.
I'm like, sure, bring on the Pitocin. Whatever. Okay, that's great. No epidural. And they say, you sure you don't want your epidural? And I said, no, I'm fine. I was having contractions like you normally would in early labor. And I was still 3 to 4 centimeters dilated. And it's definitely painful. There's no doubt about that. And I had the Pitocin. And I just kind of stayed at 3 to 4 centimeters dilated. And they kept upping the Pitocin. And the highest you can get, I think, is 40. And so I was at 40. And I still hadn't had the epidural.
Oh, no.
And it was, Justin said that literally the level of pain that I was in, I couldn't speak, I couldn't move. The contractions were
The Pitocin makes the contractions horrible.
horrible.
Right?
It was like I was having 60 to 90 second contractions with only 1 minute break in between.
Ooh.
And they would come in and check me, and I would only still be 3 to 4 centimeters dilated.
So frustrating.
And so what was happening was not adding up. And so this went on, and then I was like, okay, I need an epidural. Like, I can't keep this up. So they gave me the epidural. I got to 5 centimeters, and then I stayed there for another 10 hours. And you couldn't do more Pitocin than that.
Right.
And so that was the conversation, which is we really should consider a C-section. This could go on for 20 more hours. Yeah. The baby could end up in distress. There could be meconium at this point because your water has broken.
Right. This isn't a joke.
I literally turned and I looked at Justin and I said, we skipped the birthing class on C-sections.
Right.
We didn't go.
Right.
It didn't even cross my mind that I was going to have a C-section.
Yeah.
And I was in such shock. And I cried.
Yeah.
And one of Justin's best friends from growing up, Mom, was a nurse who was off duty, who came in that night to check on us. And she kind of talked me through it. And it was really hard. And thank goodness it wasn't an emergency. Because being rushed in for an emergency C-section, there is nothing like that.
So scary.
The rush of the fear.
Yeah, my husband was so scared too.
I had like an hour or two to kind of like sit with it and really like, what is happening here?
Yeah.
And at that point, it's a really long labor story, but it's just too funny. It's my first. My epidural ran out. And so Justin's paging the nurse and paging the nurse and paging the nurse. Nobody's coming, nobody's coming, nobody's coming. We're like, this is so weird. What's going on? All of a sudden you hear everyone on the floor with the loudest labor pains you can imagine. And I turned to Justin, I'm like, you've got to go find somebody.
Wait, like everyone's going at once?
So you can start hearing like screams around the hall. And I said, Justin, you've got to go get somebody. Like my level of pain, my knuckles were white. I was like, my eyes were popping out of my head because I'm now like 16 hours into labor with contractions that should be I should be at 10 centimeters dilated. My body's supposed to be responding that way, which they checked. They put this tube in, this whole thing, and no epidural. And I'm exhausted at this point. And he puts his pillows over his ears. He's like, don't make me go out there. Because it literally sounded like a movie. All of a sudden, all these women around the same hour. So the next thing you know, the fire department's coming in. Somebody broke their key off in the drug closet.
Oh my God.
And the drug closet has unbreakable glass.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
So they weren't coming to tell all the moms because there would have been such panic
Right.
and fear.
Oh no.
So nobody could get their epidurals refilled for a period of time.
Oh.
So anyway, at that point,
a nightmare.
I'm like, the C-section will be fine.
Yeah.
So, but I think it's that whole thing of we kind of went in like, I'm going to do this all natural, and Justin's going to be my coach, and I'm the athlete who's going to get this baby out, and the baby's going to be on my chest, I'm going to help deliver it. And then it's like, can't get into the drug closet. I am having drugs now. The induction, I mean, it's that whole thing of what you imagine goes out the door.
Right.
And it's now you're following your baby.
That's definitely, I think, the one like common bonding thing, other than we all gave birth, is that it looked nothing like any of us thought it would look like.
Right.
Even Danielle, the expert, had no idea what was going to go down.
Right.
And it's just such a crazy moment to realize, whoa.
Yeah, it's an equalizer for sure.
Right.
Well, we want to hear your birth stories, so feel free to write us or email us or tweet us.
Tweet us, however you socially communicate, we do too.
Yeah. But thanks for letting us share our stories. It's always cathartic to get that one out again. It helps us heal too. So thanks for listening and watching. We'll see you next time.
Roar.
Bye.
Bye.
Roar.